Hello and welcome to Hams Radio. I am Hams. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, I just wanted to say thank you for your support. I appreciate every one of you. If you are new to my channel is all about finding life after trauma. I will be showing the good, the bad, and the ugly of this healing journey that I'm on in hopes to A, help with my own healing, and B, help somebody along the way in their own journey. If that sounds like something that would add any kind of positivity to your life, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on what I'm doing over here. So today's video is just going to be a quick yay video because I was able to set a healthy boundary for myself this morning. And I'm going to walk you through the process and maybe give you a better understanding of why the struggles that people with borderline personality disorder, not everyone, there's a lot of different, not everybody acts the same way who have borderline personality disorder, but the way it manifests or presents in me is that I cannot set healthy boundaries. That's kind of just one of the major problems that I have. I'll dive into more about what borderline personality disorder is, but today I wanted to explain the process of setting a healthy boundary for me and how just difficult it is. So when it comes to setting boundaries, as I'm learning about this disorder and as I'm seeing how it has played out in my life multiple times over and over again, and all the problems that comes out of this, lost my train of thought, but that happens. So so not being able to set boundaries is because part of what borderline, at least how I present, part of what we do, I keep losing my train of thought. I don't know who I am. I didn't grow up with a sensitive identity, so I don't know what my boundaries are. I don't know what my boundaries should be. I don't know anything about boundaries. All I know is I let people trample all over them because I have this thought that if you set up boundaries, that's a rejection of the person, their whole person, not just their behavior, their entire person. And so to me, by letting people trample my boundaries, it was how I accepted them, if that makes sense. Because I felt like I was being rude or just rejecting the entire person if I set up boundaries. So instead of being rude, I would just not have boundaries. So I set a healthy boundary with a friend this morning, and I wrote this all down. So let me just write it down. So I had a healthy boundary that I wanted to set. And so I wrestled with saying anything. But despite the numerous thoughts accusing me of being too sensitive, thoughts that I would lose him as a friend, there's the fear of abandonment. Fear of abandonment is one of the core things of anyone, or of borderline, is a core sense of that people are going to leave me, people are going to abandon me. And so we act in such a way to try to make sure we're not being abandoned, but in those same behaviors are what's going to get myself abandoned. So I'm stuck in this cycle. So despite the thoughts that I would lose him as a friend, that I would offend him with my healthy boundary, that he would reject me, or that he would be angry with me, despite feeling like if I set this boundary, I will lose him as a friend forever, despite that, I set that healthy boundary anyway. Like I said, Any healthy boundary feels like a total rejection of the other person, and I think that's super rude. So I had this fear that he may take it as a rejection of his entire person as a friend, and that I would lose him as a friend forever if I set this boundary. But I also know that with BPD, borderline personality disorder, these thoughts are one of the hallmark traits of it. These negative thoughts. It's called like an inner critic, or the bad parent. Whatever parent that neglected or abused you, it has all these negative thoughts just in the back of your head saying you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not loved, you won't be loved unless you serve everybody, you don't deserve being loved just by yourself. Your value, your worth is connected to another person or your good deeds or how much you serve people, how much you help people. So that's where the people pleaser thing comes in. So despite this whole thing, I set this boundary. As I wrote out the text, because I did do it through text, as I wrote out the text, I chose my words very carefully. I even almost didn't send it, but I did. And you know what? It actually felt good to set that boundary, even before getting any response. But then my borderline personality disorder tries to take over. I'll have thoughts like, I'm being too demanding. He's gonna think I'm a bitch. This will be what my borderline is assuming for this next little bit. So immediately my head is starting to, or my inner critic is at it immediately, criticizing just everything. So this is how I should say the borderline personality disorder interpreted and tried to shove into me, which has happened last 32 years. So it is hard to kind of like override this innate voice, feeling, urge that I've listened to for so long, and now I have to override that. So this is how I perceive the next bit of the conversation. I perceived my borderline personality order being triggered and responding. He defended himself. I think he's mad that I'm putting a healthy boundary down. And then I send out another text. I defend myself. And I get in this mode of, okay, here we go. I can feel myself beginning to, or preparing to, split. Splitting, or to split, is a term used to describe seeing everything and everyone as either all good or all bad. Everything is black or white. There is no gray. I was ready to make my friend the devil and cut all ties if he doesn't get on board with this healthy boundary that I needed to set. He comes back with an understood text. I am most certainly triggered because I think he's mad. It didn't take me long to explain why I needed the boundary because of this fear of like, oh my God, he doesn't understand. I'm gonna lose him because he doesn't understand. Still, this is the borderline coming out, just pegging away, just making me feel super, I don't know. It's not a fun feeling to feel, and it's like I'm being triggered right now just thinking about it. So anyways, back to it. I am most certainly triggered because I think he's mad. It didn't take me long to explain why I needed that boundary. 4 whole minutes to be exact. It took me 4 minutes. I just needed him to understand in case he's upset. And that's my codependency kicking in. So codependency is like relationship addiction, more or less. It doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily limited to partners, but also friendships as well. There is a need for me to control another person for me to be okay inside. Need to control others so I can feel okay on the inside because I am no one without somebody else. So I need somebody else to make me feel okay, but when I can't make them do the things that I need them to do to make me feel okay, it's highly aggravating. So there's that. So in this instance, so I explained to him. So in this instance, despite my innate fear of abandonment, I was so used to being discarded, or there was a perceived fear that I was going to be discarded, and I was amping myself up. I was emotionally flashbacking. Emotional flashback is just something in the present is making you relate or remember something that happened in your past. For me, my childhood, my traumatic childhood. So I'm already being triggered. So I was amping up to lose him. Then he hits me with a, Bex, you don't have to explain. I will do anything and everything to support you any way you need or want. I immediately started crying, and I'm going to right now, because the overwhelming sense of relief, like, okay, I didn't lose him. I'm not gonna lose him forever. He is gonna still be around. And like, it's gonna be okay. It's going to be okay. You can set healthy boundaries and I can be okay. I can set healthy boundaries and I'm going to be okay. Even if I set healthy boundaries and people don't want to respect them, and they do have to be removed from my life, that is okay. And I just needed to kind of come to terms with, I need to set boundaries, and if people can't respect them, then I don't need them in my life. And I kind of just expect most people are going to react that way. So I just wanted to share that. This has got to be, I think, one of the most, if not the most positive experience that I've had since I've started this journey. That emotional ride it took me through to set this boundary was so important. I'm getting comfortable with setting boundaries. I'm getting comfortable with responding to my needs and understanding my needs and being able to identify my needs in the moment. But that was on another complete level for me. It was just super exciting. So I did just want to share that with everybody really quick. Thank you for following it along. Thank you for your support. Just as a reminder, if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so I can continue to show what I'm doing over here, and hopefully I'm adding some positivity to your life, adding some positive energy to your day, hopefully. And yeah, so hope you have a wonderful day, and I encourage you to continue following along with me. I'm going to throw a couple of videos that may interest you as I'm learning more about myself, and I'm learning more how to manage my borderline personality disorder. Thank you so much. Have a good day.